Paper from papyrus to wood pulp. Thousands of years have passed since our forebears began to seek a really suitable material on which to record their thoughts. Primitive peoples are known to have written in signs and symbols on the dried skins of sheep, goats, antelopes, and snakes. But roughly tanned skin was a clumsy medium on which to record human memories. The inventive brain of man sought better media for the written word, and the answer was found by the ancient Egyptians. They discovered papyrus, a vegetable parchment made from the stems of a plant called Cyprus papyrus. Papyrus. Papyrus and parchment. Papyrus is an aquatic plant that grows to a height of about 15 feet. Its stem is as smooth as a reed, triangular in a shape, and ends in a plume of feathery foliage. It flourishes on swampy ground in hot, moist climates. Once they had found out how to use papyrus, the ancient Egyptians had at hand an inexhaustible supply of materials on which to write. It is said that they made their discovery at Memphis in the Nile Valley, where papyrus grew wild in great abundance. The process of preparing papyrus, which via Greek and Latin has given us the word paper, is a very simple one. The stems of the plant are dried in the sun, cut into strips, and woven in a crisscross pattern. A layer of strips is placed above the mesh, after which the sheet is soaked in muddy water and thoroughly dried. So, the Egyptians themselves made great use of papyri, but they also exported it to the countries of the eastern Mediterranean. The story is told that on hearing of the wonderful library of manuscripts collected by the king of Pergamum in Asia Minor, the Pharaoh of that day, Ptolemy, prohibited the export of papyrus from his kingdom. Unable to obtain further supplies, the ancient Greek colony reverted to the use of sheep and goat skins. Their tanners acquired great skills, and by improving the quality of the skin made it possible for writers to use both sides. This material took the name of the city of Pergamum, Pergamena in Latin, parchment in French, and parchment in our own tongue. So its parchment comes from that word. Parchment was not, however, favored by the Romans, nor were wax blocks, which were used in some countries at that time. They preferred papyrus, some of their earliest manuscripts being written on old documents obtained from Egypt, washed clean of hieroglyphics and used again for Latin text. Later, when the Romans conquered Egypt, they made show of plentiful supplies of papyrus, the finer qualities being reserved for writing on, the coarser material being used for wrapping perishable goods. The rough variety of papyrus was called Papyrus emporeticus. Emporus is Greek for merchant, and it is worth nothing that the English term emporetic paper means parcel paper to this day. An Oriental secret leaks out. Long after the fall of the Roman Empire, Egyptian paper, as it was then called, continued to be made in factories on the Italian mainland. But when the Arabs seized Egypt in the 17th century AD, communications with the eastern Mediterranean were cut, and Rome could no longer buy papyrus reeds from the Nile. For some time, parchment was the only available material, and so it might have remained had not the Arabs learned the secrets of a new process from the Persians, who in their turn had acquired it from the Chinese. This was the secret of making paper, which had been known behind the Great Wall of China for 1,000 years or more. This Chinese invention was based on a process quite different from any that had previously been used. In the preparation of papyrus, parchment, and wax tablets, the raw materials were treated in various ways, but substantially they remained the same: vegetable fiber, skin, and wax. This new form of writing paper made by the Arabs bore no resemblance to the materials which went into its manufacture. They were just as different from the finished product as newspapers are from the wood that is used for making ordinary paper today. This was the secret that had been kept for so long by the Chinese. In Europe and many parts of Asia, men had been racking their brains to find some way of improving on the old methods of weaving dried papyrus and preparing skin for parchment. But the Chinese, maintaining their traditional isolation, had quietly got on with the job. For hundreds of years, they had been making paper from old rags, silk, waste, hemp, rice leaves, and the bark of mulberry tree. This was a way of making good use of material that would otherwise have been thrown away. All that was needed was boiling water and plenty of patience. The waste material was pulped into a fine thick paste, spread thinly on hot slabs of chalk or felt and left to dry. As the bottom surface of these sheets were rough and uneven, the Chinese glued the sheets together, two at a time, to produce strong paper, which could be used for writing on both sides. Paper from old clothes. The method adopted by the Arabs was very similar to one used by the Chinese. With a primitive machine of their own invention, the Arabs pulped all the cast-off clothing they could find and turned it into good writing paper. In order to safeguard the industry, their government declared it a state monopoly. A big factory was set up at Fez in Morocco in about the year 1200. Camel caravans laden with the bundles of old linen and cotton fabrics made their way there from many parts of North Africa. But the old clothes they carried had to be white or near white, for there was no known process for bleaching colored garments. This is one reason, according to legends, why white has remained so popular in Arab dress to this day. Paper making factories. In Fez, the Arabs produced a vast amount of white paper, comparable in quality to some papers now being made. But this was not their only center of paper making. Other factories were set up in countries such as Spain, which was then dominated by Islam. Sicily, too, was held by the Arabs for several centuries, and at Fabriano they were able to obtain better materials and to improve on their old production methods. When the Normans conquered Sicily at the time of William the Conqueror's landing in England, Fabriano was making the best quality of white paper that the world had yet seen. Little by little, Arab techniques spread to the other countries. The Fabriano papermakers carried their knowledge far and wide, teaching the craft which they had learned in a remote Mediterranean town to the people of Central and Northern Europe. But production remained tedious and slow. Every sheet of paper had to be made laboriously by hand, and the cost of writing materials was far too high to meet the growing need. This is one reason why in the Middle Ages education and culture were restricted to the aristocracy and professional classes. So here I am disagree with these writers because they all the time highlight Arab cultures negatively, but the same was happening everywhere in the world. The paper or the educational things were in 1200 is like I think rare for everyone, general public in everyone around the world. So wood pulp. As time went on, machinery for paper making was steadily improved and the demand of paper increased with the growth of book publishing. But the manufacturers still depend on the old clothes trade for their raw material. Worn out cotton and linen fabrics turned up as a paper pulp, and this situation remained unchanged until little more than 100 years ago. No wonder daily newspapers cost more at that time than they do even today. In 1799, a French workman named Louis Robert perfected a machine for the cheap and rapid production of broad rolls of paper of almost limitless length. Only one thing restricted the output of this machine: lack of suitable material from which to make the paper. The problem was solved by a German, Friedrich Keller, who had long been studying the paper-making process. He found that ordinary wood could be reduced to a perfectly satisfactory paper pulp. Keller made this discovery in 1845, a year famous in the history of the paper-making industry. Louis Roberts' machine could now draw upon unlimited supplies of raw material, which could be turned into rolls of paper of unlimited lengths. With wood pulp easily available, acres of paper now steamed from the mills of Europe and America: newsprint, writing paper, or every quality and grade thick brown paper, tissue paper, and colored paper for decorative uses. Paper, a cheap commodity. The immediate result of this discovery was the paper became a cheap material. The cost of books and newspapers fell, and the spread of learning increased at an extraordinary rate. It is no coincidence that education began to touch the mass of the population at this time. Wood pulp paper and new printing techniques have done much to make this possible during the last century or so. Today, paper reaches us in such abundance that familiarity tends to breed contempt. Few of us bother to think about the wonderful industry that provides us with the vast amount of paper that we need to sustain our modern civilization. So now we are in 2021, and I think things are changed again. Now we are saving the environment. We are using less paper. Technology is now switched on to smart screens, and that's how the fate of paper is changed, because we use so much paper from, I think, this 1845 till now, that trees are going to scarce in the environment. So I hope you like the video. Bye bye, take care.